good evening, everyone. Welcome to the virtual book talk, Achieve Your Goals and Reduce Stress and Anxiety with Project Management. My name is Evelyn Chao, and I am the founder of PM Ready. Okay, before we begin the conversation, just let me announce some quick housekeeping matters. So first thing is this meeting will be recorded. And the second is please hold your questions until the Q&A section, or you can just type them in the chat, in case you're forgetful, like I am sometimes. Mute yourself unless speaking, and complete the post-event survey. And a quick reminder is there is one free PDU, and it is provided for PMI certified members. Okay. Okay, so this virtual event is hosted by PM Ready, a 501c3 nonprofit providing resources and a platform to empower the next generation of project contributors and leaders. We aim to promote project management as a transferable skill and a transformative mindset. We also aim to make project management learning engaging and accessible to everyone, and empower young people to apply their project management knowledge to work on projects solving a real problem for their community or promoting the UN's 17 Sustainable Development Goals. Currently, we provide monthly virtual events, a youth mentorship program, and student competitions. We actively seek youth ambassadors, youth mentees, and youth mentors. And so we welcome your collaboration to promote youth and social impact initiatives. Okay, so let's start this meeting off with a simple ice-breaking activity to get to know who you are. So what is your role and what is your New Year's resolution? So feel free to type your answers in the chat. I am a student, and I guess my New Year's resolution, I have a lot. Like I have a whole vision board full of stuff. But I guess my main one, I guess get used to high school, because I'm my first year in high school, and it's a private school, so completely new to me, and I have like just a completely different environment, so I got to get used to that. Yeah.
I'll go. I'm a parent and I'm also PMI certified member. I'm a PMP. My goal is, my doctor told me I need to, some of my blood work came back not great, so I have to get healthier and watch more what I eat. So that's my goal for the new year.
Yeah, definitely. Like health is definitely your number one priority.
Yes.
In terms of everything.
Less sweets.
Healthy physical and mental. Yeah, both, like, and also emotionally too, because we can't forget about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, every way, just stay healthy, or else you can't get anything done, like much less a project.
Come back on work. Yes, that is tough. Yeah. Project management certification. Yeah. Oh, I like that. Do things that make me happy. I have a magnet on my fridge that says, do more things that make you happy. So I agree.
I mean, that's also like, yeah, that also contributes to like emotional health.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah, as project managers, it's very easy to get sucked into work.
Yeah, definitely. Especially like if you're used to it. I see my mom sometimes like she just gets into it, and like she can't stop until like she finished at least a milestone. So okay, we got a new. Okay. So I'm so glad to see our audience coming from such diverse backgrounds. So according to a report in Forbes Health from last December, the top 5 New Year's resolutions for 2024 are to improve fitness, improve finances, improve mental health, lose weight, and improve diet, which is basically what we said combined into improve health. The report also shows that parents are most likely to set New Year's resolutions than non-parents. For most, New Year's resolutions focuses more on self-improvement, and these resolutions can fill us up with excitement and anticipation of the possibility of achieving goals. Yet, resolutions are still rarely kept beyond the second Friday of January, a day known appropriately as Quitter's Day, and I have found myself guilty to this day. Um, but working on it, stress and anxiety are really like top barriers, and like time as well. Like we lack a lot of time. So I am so glad to have that we have a project management expert joining us this evening to talk about such goal achieving and stress management. It is my great honor to introduce our panelist, Miss Hilary Kinney. Miss Kinney is a corporate flex director at Marriott International, where she directs global projects and business community of customer loyalty programs. She has over 17 years of experience in strategic communications and project management, with a focus on the luxury hospitality sector. She is a certified project management professional, PMP, and a Pro C certified change practitioner, as well as an award-winning author and educator. So you really do it all. And Hilary is also passionate about sharing her knowledge and skills with others, especially parents and children. She is the author of Project Management for Parents, a best-selling book that teaches essential life skills through project management principles. Okay, so without further ado, let's welcome Miss Kinney. Miss Kinney, I'm so happy that you are with us today, and I will turn it over to you now.
Great. Well, I'm so excited to be here to talk about this topic, which is so timely. And I think we've made it through the second Friday of January, right? So we're not quitters yet, which is good. We're still trying to
Hopefully.
achieve our goals. So I love project management. I love the power of project management. I love how we can apply it at work and have really great outcomes, and how we can apply it in our personal lives and have great outcomes too. And we can use it at work and at home and at school, pretty much anywhere. So what I'm passionate about simplifying project management and sharing tips and tools with people to make our lives better. And I'm super excited about this topic, how we can achieve our goals, reduce stress and anxiety using these project management tools. And we'll also throw in a few Jedi mind tricks to trick ourselves into being more productive. So I'm super excited to share this with you today. And we can go forward, and I will share the thoughts as soon as Zoom cooperates. There we go. So I love this quote from Psychology Today that says, "Worrying is frustrated planning, and the antidote to worry is action." And worry is basically, and which leads to anxiety and stress, is basically we're something is out of our control and we're not sure what to do about it. And that causes worry and anxiety. And the quote talks about the antidote to worry is action. So by coming up with an action plan to this uncontrollable thing, then we feel less stressed because we have a plan in place, and it lowers those levels of anxiety. And the definition of a project is anything that's new that has a beginning and an end date. So basically, we tend to worry about things that we don't know or we're not familiar with. So if we have to do something new, it tends to cause more worry and anxiety. So project management is a great antidote to that, because it's all about breaking down something new and different into manageable steps and coming up with an action plan to address it. So there are a lot of really exciting tools that we can use to do that. So let's talk about, on the next slide, there's been a really interesting study that Zulily actually sponsored, and it's called The Brain of the Planner. And it talked about the differences in people who were planners versus procrastinated, who tended to put things off. And you can see by the statistics on the right that there are real benefits to being more of a planner versus a procrastinator. So the percentages represent people who strongly agree with each statement. So you can see on the planner side of things, their family relationships are stronger, they're happier, their health is better, they're more confident, they feel like that they're in more control of their life, which means, less stress and anxiety. They have time for social life and friends, which again makes us happier and less anxious, more financially secure, and have more time for them, enough time for themselves, which leads to that health and well-being that we've been talking about. So there are a lot of really great benefits for being a planner. And I used to think that people, when I was younger, school age, middle school, high school, I used to think I was more of a procrastinator, right? And I used to think, oh, that's just the way I am. But the beauty of this is if you go on to the next slide, you can see that you can learn how to be a planner. It's a skill that you can learn. And, I remember, I think it was middle school, I had to do like the dreaded science project. And my science project was how to make a tomato and potato plant combined so that the potatoes would grow underground and the tomatoes would grow above ground by like splicing the plants together. But of course, I put it off, and like I barely got the project out the door. And now I'm a project manager. So I'm a good example of you can learn how to become a planner. And there are also ways that you can trick yourselves, trick your brain and motivate yourself to become more of a planner to learn those skills. So I'm excited to share that with you today. So as we go through this presentation, I want you to think about what is stressing you out right now, and pick one thing about what you need to do, and what's that nagging thought you keep having. Like for me, my doctor said I need to get in touch with this nutritionist, and so far I've gotten her name and number, but I need to like set up the appointment and get that going. So as we go through these tools that we're sharing and talking through, I just want you to think through how these might help you address your specific pain point, and then feel free to drop those in the chat if that would help. So first, we're going to talk about a few different pain points for both parents. So I'll cover that, and then Evelyn will cover students. So the first pain point we're going to talk about is, this is a picture of me, my son, and my husband out on vacation. And I need to plan summer vacation, and I feel stressed out because people want to do different things. Like I love the beach. I like to sit on the beach, and my son likes to play in the water. My husband's more of a mountain guy, likes to be super active. And then, which friends and family do we want to take vacations with, and what do they want to do, and what's people's budget, and where they want to go, and how much time do they have, and what's the schedule? It's just a lot. So I need to plan summer vacation, and I'm feeling stressed about it. So if anyone else feels stressed about summer, drop it in the chat, and then Evelyn's going to share a pain point for being a student.
Yes, so you can drop in the chat. We can have like little reaction thingy. Okay, and I'll give like a few seconds for this. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And for parents, it's also like summer camp. Like, what's my kid going to do for summer camp during the summer?
Mm. Yeah, I remember as a kid, my mom would always be like finding all these summer camps for me to go. Now, now I'm older, I try to find some summer camps on my own. Um, more actual like adult, like kind of like
Do you have to get a job yet or not yet?
I am I am trying. It's one of my New Year's resolutions. One of my many.
Yes.
Yeah. I'm trying to find one for the summer too, to see if I can get some extra cash. But
yeah, let's see. Planning with summer vacation with family and a separate getaway with girlfriends. Love that. I've been trying to plan a getaway with girlfriends for years. We managed to do it like once every 5 years, just because of calendars. Yeah, multiple kids, and then they get older. They have opinions on what they want to do. When they're little, you can just take them anywhere.
Okay. And then the next pain point is for being a student. So my club needs to plan a cultural celebration event, but don't know where to start. Um, Okay, so well, what I would do to solve this, I guess, I would say the first thing I would do is to define the goal, like your uh your end like achievement, like what your vision is, like starting from the end outcomes, what was the results or impacts do I want the event to have? Um, or I would also make sure I have the buy-in from the club about the goals, and then think about who we want to involve in the event planning and how we want to engage them, like who's going to be the people involved. And after we figure out the big picture, we break down and work scope into small steps and assign people to specific goals. So that's my two pennies on how I would solve this kind of thing. But actually I have related just recently, actually we have my school is planning a lunar New Year celebration. And we are the parents of the Asian ASA club has to like plan it, and the kids are also has to be organizing it as well. So yeah,
A lot of work. Yeah, that's it.
yeah.
Well,
So it's yeah.
yeah, it's a lot of work. Yeah, sounds like
Mhm.
project manager, scope management, stakeholder management, decomposition. Exactly. So, if other students that are on want to share pain points, please drop them in the chat.
Mhm.
And the thing I love, these two pain points may seem different between the parent and the student, but from a project management perspective, they're basically similar in that they're an event that needs to be planned, and there are
Yeah,
specific project management tools that you could do that. And that's what I love about project management is they're reusable tools that once you learn them, you just reapply them to different things. Once
yeah.
you recognize what they are, either in your personal life or your professional life, you're not
Mhm.
like, oh, wait, that's scope management. I've got
Mhm.
to use scope management to manage this event or this, this occurrence.
Yeah,
So we'll go through on the next slide, just like the basics of what scope management is and how you can apply it to both vacation planning, finding a job, girls' weekend, um, Lunar New Year, or any other event. And if you just remember 6 W's and an H, you can figure out scope management. And it's the typical, 6 W's and an H that you think of. And they're detailed on the next slide. So it's who, what, where, why, how. And I add in what if, and then what are you going to do? So basically with scope management, if you just think of one piece of paper, you're trying to get everything laid out on everyone on the same page that's involved, and you want to define these things at a high level to make sure that you're going in the right direction. So project management is considered very formal. So if you're planning a vacation or summer activities for your family, you wouldn't necessarily run them through like the really robust scope definition process. It would probably be more of a conversation. But if you just keep these things in mind and take notes on different areas, you'll know that you're hitting all the right areas to make sure that you're capturing what you need to do and you're not forgetting anything. So to Evelyn's point in terms of the why, like why am I doing this? Why am I planning this event? What are the goals? That fits into that rationale piece. And sort of in the corporate world, we match it to the strategic goals of the company. Like we don't do projects unless they map out to a strategic goal. And then the who, like who's going on vacation, who's going on this girlfriend's weekend, who's available, who are going to be involved. What are you going to do? What is this event? Is it a birthday? Is it Lunar New Year? What are you celebrating? When? What's the date and time? And obviously these will change over time once you're having conversations with people about what's the best time. Where are you going to do it? How's it going to be paid for? Are people paying individually for vacation? Is it coming out of is a grandparent paying for everyone to go on vacation? And what other resources or people do you need to help plan this vacation? So, and then the what ifs is all about what could go wrong. And that is just to be ready in case something happens. Like, what if our flight gets canceled? Or what if Jane can't make it at the last minute? Or what if I'm planning an outdoor event and it might rain? What's my backup plan? Do I need to order a tent? So it's all about getting ready in advance so you're prepared for any changes. So actually in my book, I've got a one-page template that you just write out in each area. And I actually use it at work too. I call it Scope Light, just to, at a very high level, map out what these are. And it gives you a really good framework for what you need to think about when you're planning these events. And it gives you a place to start. And then it just iterates over time as you get a little more detailed, like, the date and time may just start out as the initial date, but then you're like, okay, well, what day are we going to dinner? And what day are we going to the beach? And just a little more detailed as you plan out specific activities. So that's the overview of scope management that you can use for both those student pain points and those parent pain points. So now we're going to talk about a second set of scenarios for more pain points and more project management tools that we can apply. So for being a parent, like, this is my son, he's working on a science project with my husband, and he had to do a model of an atom. He picked nitrogen. He also had to do like a project on, like, read a whole book and detail every chapter. And then I think he also had another project. I can't remember what it was, but there's a lot of projects all at once. And it was hard to stay on top of because they're all hitting at the same time. So that was my pain point for being a parent. He's a sixth grader, so he's new to middle school. He'd never had projects before. So that was a recent pain point. So feel free to drop other pain points, and then Evelyn's going to cover some student ones too.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not a parent, but as a sister, the oldest sibling of two younger sisters, it's a lot of projects.
It's a lot of projects. Yeah. Yeah. And they seem to hit in middle school. He didn't really have them before, but yeah, they've started.
I had more big projects in like elementary school,
Oh,
and I had
really?
like group project at school in middle school. So
Oh, wow.
yeah. Um, okay, so a pain point for being a student. I set a goal of being more organized with my schoolwork, extracurricular activities, etc., but it is hard to maintain it. Um, yeah. Um, there's like, as like, um, like seventh-ish grade is when I personally haven't started to get more like I was more clear on what I wanted, and I listed out all the things that I could do to get to where I wanted to go. So that really increased my stress by a lot. And it just keeps on building up the higher you go. And yeah, like it is hard, but I am very schedule oriented. So I like to plan out all my schedules and all my extracurriculars and schoolwork and stuff. And I go even deeper into it. I have like specific goals for each like extracurricular. Like today, what is the basic goal of it? Yeah. So every Sunday it's like like 1 hour is just me organizing stuff. Yeah.
That's great.
I mean, yeah. Or else I would go crazy. And it's not fun. Um, okay. So yes, aim for smaller goals. I mean, always have like a big idea in mind is what I do, but always have like smaller goals so you can know what you should do to achieve this goal. Because a lot of people say, I want to be president, but they don't know how to get there. So breaking it down would definitely, in my case at least, will help.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or if things just come naturally to you.
Yeah. So again, these may seem like different issues, like my son's projects and students being organized, but in project management, it's actually both the same thing. It comes down to task management, um, and how we organize our work. And basically in task management, with project management, we identify the task, we identify who's going to do it, the time it's going to be done, and that equals our plan. Or to Evelyn's point, is she's mapping out what she needs to do, then you can calendar it because you know how long things are going to take. And the Jasmine, your point about aim for smaller goals is it's all about breaking down that big hairy thing that I'm not sure about what to do. Like, what am I going to do about summer vacation? I need to break those down into individual tasks, like Evelyn said, so they're manageable. Something, that's described in one sentence, like, okay, I'm going to call my sister and see, start the conversation about vacation, or I'm going to talk to my husband about what our budget is this year, or talk to my son about where we might want to go, and just start thinking through those individual tasks that need to happen. And then later on, it would come like buy airplane tickets, rent a car, book a hotel. So you'd list all those tasks down, and then you'd figure out who's going to do them. Are you going to do them? Are you going to share them with a family member or a relative? And then you identify when do those need to be done, and that helps you know, like, okay, I want to book my airplane ticket. I can't remember the number, but it's like if you look for an airplane ticket 90 days prior to your trip, I think it's got a good price, or there's some special window. You can make a note of that and mark it on your calendar, so you know exactly when you need to do it. So if we go down to the next slide, there's a couple things to keep in mind. So if you can drop in the chat, are you guys more digital people or paper people for keeping track of things? Because I think it's important to think about, like, your organization system needs to work for you, and everyone's different, and it's okay to be different. I prefer digital. I use spreadsheets at work, and for personal stuff, I tend to put reminders in my phone. Like, something comes up I need to remember, I'll put a little reminder in my phone. So it looks like Charles, Camilla, Bushra, digital, more paper. Yep. And then this is my son's planner. He uses a paper planner, which I think is really good for kids. Because I don't know if you're allowed to use, Evelyn, are you guys allowed to have phones in class or no?
At my school specifically, we not inside the buildings, but we
Yeah.
have laptops.
Yeah.
So yeah.
But the tricky thing about using phones is they're made to distract us, right? With notifications popping up. So the danger, like if I'm putting something in my phone, I'll like see a text come in, or some social media notification. So it can be distracting. So digital, go to paper for personal. Yep, and you can keep it either way. And then for kids, the goal is to consolidate, right? You want it in one place. And sometimes that's not realistic. So like in my kitchen, I've got a chalkboard. If I remember something or I need something for the grocery list, I write it on there. And when my phone's always with me, I can quickly list it. But it's really helpful to consolidate as much as you can. Otherwise, we lose it. And for kids, whenever you're in a class, have your planner with you and pretend like you're playing a bingo game. Oh, wait, I think my teacher said I have a task. Let me write it down. And it doesn't have to be pretty, just get it down in that one place to make sure that you have it. Outlook task lists are also very helpful for digital. And then, you need to identify your priorities for that day, that week, that month. What are you going to do now? You're going to decide when to do something. What are you going to delegate or not do or delete? And it's okay not to do something, just get rid of it and just keep moving through that list. And then things are constantly changing. I know for students, it seems like, you have classes, you have deadlines. For my son, it's a little more static, like, when things are done. For me at work, my priorities change quite a bit, or meetings switch, or an executive needs something more quickly than I thought than originally planned. So I have to be a little more flexible with how my time is spent at work. But at least I know generally how much time things are going to take. So I can tell people, okay, I know you want me to do this, but I've got this going on, so I need to push that till later. So it gives me visibility into my overall workload. And Evelyn, to your point about prioritizing your tasks every day, and you do it every week to go through it, taking a look at your schedule for the week. And for parents, it's also really helpful to sit down and have like a family meeting, say on Sunday afternoon or evening, and talk through, okay, what's coming up? What does our schedule look like? Do you have any do your kids have any big projects due? And just talk it through as a family so you can all be on the same page as what's coming up, where there's crossover and what you need to do. So those tasks can also transfer to a schedule. Some people like to use time blocking, where they block certain amounts of time to do a specific piece of work. Like for me, I should probably block like half an hour to, all right, I need to call the nutritionist. I need to set up, our meeting schedule. And then I'm going to also need to like figure out when I'm going to go shopping and figuring out what recipes I need to do. So I need to block a time to do that. And that's, my goal, and I need to get that done, and it's nagging at me. So one thing I'm going to do is I'm thinking through how this applies is, okay, I'm going to put 30 minutes on my calendar for Saturday morning to start mapping that out, because I know that I'll have time to do it. So I encourage you, for whatever you identified at the beginning of the session, that thing that's nagging you, I would write down a couple quick things that you can do, like 1, 2, 3, really quick, and then put it on your calendar so it's protected time and you know when you're going to do it. And that'll be your priority for that week to get going on that. So now we're going to talk about some Jedi mind tricks to help us be more productive. So any Star Wars fans in the room? You can put a little smiley face in the chat if you're a Star Wars fan. So there are ways that we can help ourselves go from that procrastinator to the planner. And just like procrastination causes us stress and anxiety, getting things done makes us feel good, and it releases like dopamine in the brain. So there's like a chemical reaction to being productive, and then sort of that feeling can make us want more of it. So if we can sort of trick ourselves into being more productive, it'll help us exercise that muscle and want it and see the benefits and get in more of a rhythm of it. So to someone's point earlier about the small tasks, so if you break it into a really small task, like say for me, I need to call the nutritionist. So my really small task would be like, I don't know, write down nutritionist or like write nutritionist phone number in my contact list so I have it when I have time to call her. That could be like a really small goal, but as a busy parent, sometimes that's a big accomplishment, right? So so I actually did that the other day. I'm like, okay, I need her phone number when I have time to call her. So I shot a picture of it and it's in my photos on my phone, so I know I have it. So a really small task, I'm like, oh, okay, I'm making progress against my goal. And give yourself shorter deadlines so that you'll accomplish that really quickly, and that'll make you feel good. And then give yourself rewards for doing that. Since I'm trying to like reduce my sugar intake, I probably shouldn't go like celebrate with chocolate or anything as much as I would like to. But maybe I'll celebrate with something else, like, I don't know, watching one of my favorite shows. And that makes us feel good, right? Yeah, Camila. I know that's the hard part. The chocolate's the worst. So by creating smaller tasks, giving ourselves earlier deadlines, rewarding ourselves, it starts that feel good. Oh, this planning feels good. I want more of it. So if we go to the next slide, we call this the success cycle. So the more you do this cycle, the better you're going to feel. Like, I've got the smaller task, earlier deadlines. I'm giving myself short-term rewards, but not chocolate. That gives me a feeling of accomplishment and success. And then I'm continually motivated to keep going. And I feel like I'm making progress. So as you're breaking out your task list and writing down what you need to do, keep them small. Don't go like, I'm going to lose 20 pounds by May. That's just way too big. Okay, I'm going to call the nutritionist and I'm going to come up with some recipes and I'm going to, exercise 3 times a week. But, those are some somewhat manageable tasks that are a little easier. It was funny. My pastor this Sunday was talking about goals, and he was talking about thinking about what you want to identify with. And if you want to identify as a runner, just start small. He was like, you could just put on running clothes and all you have to do is put them on and you don't have to go running. You're just identifying as a runner. That's one way to get started and just start thinking of yourself in that new state, which I thought was a cute idea. So those are some Jedi mind tricks that you can use to help get yourself in that mode and start moving from that procrastination state to that planning state. So now we're going to move on to our third and final pain point. And this applies to both parents and students. And it's about feeling overwhelmed by all the activities, school, work, home, chores, sports, volunteering. So drop a note in the chat if you can relate. I think this applies to a lot of us. And the reason I want to include this is because no matter how organized you are or how many task lists you have, if you have too much going on, you have too much going on. And that stress and anxiety is still going to be there. So next I want to talk about constraints, which is another theory in project management. And it's all based on the idea of scope in project management. And this is something I developed for my book as I was thinking about parenting and how overwhelming it can be. So Camilla can relate, yes. So I like to think of constraints in project management. The triple constraints are scope, time, and cost, or quality. And every project is limited by those. And the assumption is that we have limited resources and there's only so much you can accomplish within that triangle. And I like to think of it as a stop sign, because there's only so far you can push the budget, you can push time, or you can push resources. And then things happen. If you keep pushing on something, if you go to the next slide, Evelyn, what happens if we keep pushing on something and we have limits? There's only so far it's going to go. And that balloon, that water balloon, is eventually going to break. So I'd like us to think, because I think we tend to think more constraints oriented at work, where I have, there's limited budget for things, there's limited people that can do the work. But in our personal lives, especially as women, I think we're constantly thinking, oh, I can do more, I should be doing more. There's more I can take on. I've got all the time in the world. And I'd like to challenge us to sort of flip that on its head and start thinking through what are our limits and what can't we do? Because no level of organization is going to save us from a incredibly busy schedule. So if we go to the next slide, it illustrates this in a stop sign format. And I'd like us to think about, okay, what do we need to stop doing so that we can really focus on our goals that we set out for ourselves and be more realistic. So just like the triple constraints of project management of scope, time, and cost, we've got budget, which is cost, we've got time, and then the scope are the other things that impact us, like our work. Like parents, we have work and career. Kids, our students on the line, like Evelyn, you're a student. We've got extracurricular activities and hobbies like sports. Family-related work is anything related to keeping the household running, like, laundry, dishes, cleaning the house, grocery shopping, etc. And quality of life is sort of that mental health and wellness that we've been talking about. And health and safety, how are we taking care of ourselves? How am I making sure that the next time I go to the doctor, he's going to say my blood work looks great? So I encourage everyone to think about these constraints and how they impact you personally. And what are your priorities right now? And are there areas that need to change? Because if you think about a water balloon in the middle of this stop sign, do you want like a small water balloon that has a little flex in it? Or do you want your water balloon pushing against the inside of the stop sign that's about ready to pop? Which is, very difficult to maintain, because we can only, maybe short periods of time, say I'm really busy at a project at work. There may be a short period of time that I need to work longer hours. But usually the first thing to go when you're working longer hours or you're in exams at work is your quality of life, because that's the easiest thing to change, right? So we'll spend less time with our family, we'll go to the gym less often, we won't have time to prepare food, so we'll eat out more. So our health will decline as well. So that's the thing to think about, is if you focus more on one thing, there's going to be a cost to something else. So if we go to the next slide, I like to think about ways to address it and think about it like a seesaw. So either you have to reduce your workload to be more realistic. Like I work part-time, that's how I manage it. I don't work a full-time schedule, so that reduces my hours at work. So, I can help my son at school and do other things like book talks like this. Or you can add resources to help. So say with childcare, do you need, can you ask a relative to help pick up your child at work or help watch your kids? Or are there services that you can use to help you, like help you around the house? Or, can you use curbside pickup to save you time at the grocery store instead of going into the grocery store? So there are different ways to think about it, but to be realistic, to bring that water balloon back into size, we either have to reduce our workload or increase resources to help us. So I think that's really important to keep in mind. And there's a couple exercises in my book that you can go through in terms of ranking where you are and where you want to be and how to get there. But I think it's just a very powerful way to start thinking through what's realistic for us and what we need to change so we can hit our goals and reach the quality of life that we want. So then as a recap, there are several different ways that we can reduce stress with project management. So stop being overwhelmed by using that realistic constraints mindset. Think about your water balloon, where you are today, how you need to reduce it so it doesn't burst. And then learn how to be a planner by practicing. Pick that one thing that's stressing you out, break it into tiny, tiny tasks, give yourself quick deadlines, and then reward yourself to get started and start feeling those benefits. And then if you have an event coming up or something new, use 6 W's and H to plan it. Who, what, when, where, why, what if, and how. Consolidate tasks, pick your planner. And, it may take a little practice to see what works for you, but consolidate it, keep it in one place, and use that in conjunction with your monthly calendar to block your time. And then use those Jedi mind tricks of smaller tasks, earlier deadlines, and rewards to keep that success cycle going and feel the benefits of being a planner instead of a procrastinator. So the beauty of this is that it all ties into our goals for 2024. On the next slide, we talk through all the benefits of using these. So if you think about it, we'll have better sleep because we'll have mapped out a plan and we'll be worried less about getting things done. It'll help us be healthier by, we'll plan ahead, we'll prepare food ahead of time. You can use it in fitness, like, okay, I'm going to set a goal of working out 3 days a week. I'm going to track that and feel good about it and reward myself when I achieve that. By finances, by tracking and tracking your budget and giving yourself milestones, that helps too. I'm going to save this amount of money by then, and tracking that on your task list or your calendar, that helps you too. With relationships, keeping that constraints mindset, making sure you're having enough time for your relationships and planning to do things together using your scope document. Thinking through work-life balance, a better work-life balance. I remember someone was saying that's one of their goals. Thinking about your goals, prioritizing your schedule, hopefully the organization will help. And then that constraints mindset. And with work, school, and performance, being organized will help you submit that work on time and making sure you're meeting all those deadlines. So those are all the pieces that I wanted to share with you today. And I hope this will help you feel great and achieve your resolutions. And there's additional resources for you. If you want to get the book, it's actually, people have told me it's a great way to study for their PMP because it's a good introduction to basic project management. Covers change management, project management, risk management, agile. Or you can take it out from Montgomery County or Washington, D.C. Public Library. Or if you're in Botswana, it's available there as well globally. And then I also have a website and I'm some socials if you want to follow along. I provide more day-to-day tips on how you can apply project management to your personal life. And go ahead. I'm happy to take any questions.
Yes. So yeah, so there's a QR. Yeah, so you can get it from any of the stores, and also Kindle, like ebook, also available. Okay, so is there any this is not okay, yeah. Is there any questions?
I have I guess, a suggestion of a Jedi mind trick I used to do when I was working, going in the office since COVID happened. I'm 100% remote, but to get myself motivated to work out, I would prepare my clothes and put them in the car the night before. The morning, if I woke up, if I didn't have, there was nothing else to wear. So you'd have to just get the clothes that were already in the car. And that would get me motivated to get to the gym before I went to work. And then I would feel great for the rest of the day. But that's one thing I realized I had to do. Otherwise, I would talk myself out of going to the gym in the morning. So,
Yeah, that's a great one. And also had like, sometimes like, oh, I have time to go to the gym, and I'm like, oh, I don't have my clothes, so I can't go. Just like being ready for it. Yeah. I remember Carrie Underwood said, yeah, I wear my workout clothes all day long. So whenever I can fit in a workout, I can fit in a workout.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah, sometimes I would I would wait until like the next morning to wash my hair. Yeah, to wash to take a shower. So because showers get me more awake and I have to wake up really early in the morning because my
Mhm.
school is far away. So I would so because I have to take a shower, I would force myself to get it to be awake and then go in the shower. And then after the shower, I feel so much more energized. So, um, yeah. So is there's not any more questions. Um, okay, I'll just end it. And thank you so much, Miss Kinney, for joining us today. I learned so many creative tips to stay organized, manage my stress, and focus on my goals. And I cannot wait to apply these tips in my life, and my schedule will love this. Um, and now I am happy to announce PM Ready's upcoming events. We have a PM Ready info session coming up, and you'll be able to meet my team and future projects. And then we also have a virtual talk, a Black History Month event uh, with Eric panel. So, yeah, so please register using the link or barcode provided on the screen. And yeah, thank you so much for joining us this evening. Please kindly complete a quick survey using the link on a barcode on the screen. Please subscribe to our monthly newsletters, our YouTube channel, or our LinkedIn group to learn more about our events. If you're a PMI certified member, you may self-report your PDU on your PMI portal. If you need instructions on doing so, please feel free to send an email to us at getpmready@gmail.com. And yeah, so thank you so much, everyone, for attending this event and Miss Kinney. So have a great evening, everyone.
Thank you. Have a
Thank
great night.
you. You too.